Welcome back, Movie Misfits, and today I'm going to be doing a review on The Little Things, which was released of January of 2021. And I'm using the term release lightly because I don't know where it was released. No movie theaters are open here in LA, and I don't know where movie theaters are actually open now. I'll just say this movie was dropped on HBO Max. Unless you have it or you're using someone's account, coolio. The Little Things was written and directed by John Lee Hancock, and also stars Denzel Washington, Rami Malek, and Jared Leto. This film is a detective thriller, which we've all seen 100 times, or even thousands, even millions of times by now. You kind of have an idea where this could go. You have an idea how the pacing should be. You also have an idea what types of characters these are. Basically, the story is Denzel Washington was a former city detective, and now who has become a local deputy in a small town. So basically, when returning to the city, Denzel Washington's character realizes, hey, my big unsolved case that basically forced me out of the city is currently still happening, it looks like. And this is where we get introduced to Rami Malek's character, who is the young, hotshot detective who's trying to solve this case on his own. Basically, when these two characters meet, you have your senior detective, and then you have your new school, hotshot, conceited character. Kind of reminds you of something you might have seen like in Seven. So these two characters have like a rift between each other. However, you would think it would play out through the entire movie. After that, they're friends. This film does start off pretty strong. We're introduced to the serial killer right away. However, their face is covered, and it's kind of like a cat and mouse chase scene in the beginning. I'm not saying that this film is trying to imitate Seven. When the film opens up from the first chase scene from the actual serial killer, their face is covered, so you don't know who it is. However, 10 minutes into the movie, you're like 90% sure you know who it is right away, especially when they come on screen. Which brings me to Jared Leto, whose performance is actually pretty good in the film. I didn't think he was going to have much of a part in this film. I figured maybe they'd be showing him 5 minutes here in the beginning and maybe 5 minutes at the end, but no, his part kind of pops up more and more frequently. Jared Leto's also not very recognizable, which is actually pretty good. The makeup effects that they use on his face were actually really good. Which brings me up to the acting in this film. The acting in this film is the film's strongest point. Denzel Washington is very good in this film at playing the senior detective, basically. Rami Malek plays a good young hotshot, kind of conceited kind of character. I will say, if you're watching this with your parents or if you have a hard time with people with accents, I will suggest putting the subtitles on, because there are moments when Rami Malek speaks. He doesn't like to open his mouth. He kind of speaks like this. You might need subtitles. I'm just suggesting. If you're watching this with your parents, put the subtitles on for them. And turn on the TV very loud, too. The performances from Denzel Washington, performances from Rami Malek, and the performances from Jared Leto are very good. And whatever prosthetic nose they use, or whatever putty that they use for his nose, give that nose an Academy Award. Now, to bring back movies that we have seen before that are similar to this kind of style of suspense and whatnot, movies like Seven, movies like The Zodiac, this film is not as good as those films. I'm not sure if the studios were like, hey, we got these three awesome actors, who cares what we put on screen? Yes, the acting is good, however, they couldn't save the story or the movie. This movie will be very forgettable. Since we're all still in quarantine, movies are a lot more forgettable, especially when they're not that good. I will say I wish I would have seen this movie in the theater, because I live here in California, I grew up in the city of Alhambra, and there's one little cameo from the city of Alhambra. A local dining spot called Bud and Burger was actually featured in the film for one scene. So it would have been nice to see this movie in the theater, and it would have been nice to hear the residents of Alhambra clapping when the Bud and Burger came out for a cameo. The ending to this movie is very anticlimactic. No one's gonna be going, oh my God! Like I said, it's very anticlimactic, and you could also use the argument, well, it's very real, which is fine. I have no problem with that. However, the fact that the movie is kind of building up and the script is kind of flat, and you're getting these great performances, but with the flat script and an anticlimactic ending, these actors are having to do a lot more than they're needed to do for this film. I've seen a more realistic ending with other movies that have done it better. Like, for instance, the movie The Pledge, starring Jack Nicholson, had a very realistic ending. It's a downer of an ending, but it's more realistic and it fits.
I'm going to give The Little Things a C-.
Thank you once again for tuning in. Please don't forget to hit like and subscribe. Also, don't forget to go to my Instagram to play daily games. And don't forget, I'm Mike the Movie Misfit, and I'll see you at the movies.